Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at a bunch of games that I've managed to pick up during the EB Games closing down sale here in New Zealand. I'll give a little bit more detail on that in another video, but for the moment I'll just show you what I managed to pick up. Okay, so starting off, we've got this one for the Xbox One. This is Dreamfall Chapters. So I don't really know too much about this one, to be honest, but I am a sucker for colour contrast, so seeing the blue and the red on the cover, the way that it's designed, I quite like that. So I decided to give it a pick up. It only cost me $9 New Zealand dollars, so pretty reasonable. If it's one that I don't end up liking, then it wasn't too expensive. But I think it is like a story-driven choice game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong there, but I've got a feeling that it probably plays a little bit like Life is Strange, something like that. Again, I could be completely wrong with that assumption, but it's quite an interesting premise by what it says on the back. So we've got set in parallel worlds, one in a dark cyberpunk version of our future, another in a magical fantasy realm. You follow the two unlikely heroes Zoe and Kian on their journeys to save the very fabric of reality from falling apart. So it sounds pretty interesting. So it's almost, the way that it's described there reminds me a little bit of Split Fiction, where you've got the two parallel kind of stories going on. Could be quite an interesting one. So this is the first one that I managed to get. Okay, second up we've got, again for the Xbox One, Trackmania Turbo. So again, not one that I've heard of, not one that I know anything about. I believe this is a long-running franchise, but this is the first time I've actually encountered it. But it looks, again, just from the cover, like it could be quite a fun arcade racer with some crazy physics stuff going on, crazy tracks, and some chaos by the looks of things. We've got a helicopter dropping a car onto the track on the cover there. We've got a lot of loops in the track, so it looks like it could be quite fun. If I look on the back here, it says there's up to 16 players. So that could be quite manic just in itself. And the pictures on the back here look like it's some pretty cool tracks, some pretty loopy physics kind of stuff going on. So looks like it could be fun. I do quite like my racers. I like the ones that have something a little bit different going on, so this one looks like it could match that criteria. It could be quite a fun one. But yeah, that's the second one. It looks like it's my kind of thing. So third we've got, again for the Xbox One. So this one, the case is a little bit scuffed with a sticker residue over here, but can't always be helped. But this one is Torment Tides of Numenera. So forgive me if I've pronounced that horribly. Yeah, again, I don't know much about this one. I've seen this one in the stores on the shelves for quite some time. Every time I've seen it on the shelves, it has appealed to me, just from the front cover. I don't know more than that on this. It is a day one edition. Apparently it is the #1 most funded RPG on Kickstarter. So that in itself could be quite interesting. By the looks of things on here, we've got, it looks like a top-down kind of game, so I'm not quite sure what to expect with this one, but I've heard pretty good things about it. But this one was only $4, so can't really go wrong with that. And as I say, I've seen this one occasionally on the shelves in the stores, and yeah, decided that at $4 it was probably worth picking up, so I'll give that a go. Okay, so moving over to PlayStation now. So I've got PS4, My Hero One's Justice 2. So I've got the first one of this, and I haven't actually played it yet, but I love the anime that this is based on, My Hero Academia. And that is probably actually my favourite anime at the moment. But this is it's an arena brawling fighting game based on the anime. So I'll look forward to playing both 1 and 2 for this. Should be pretty fun. I'm not usually an arena brawler kind of person. I've not really played that many. But I'm a big fan of the show, My Hero Academia. So hopefully this will be quite a fun game to play as well. So I've got nothing against arena brawlers, I just haven't really encountered them too often. So I'll be playing both of those. That's really cool. So next up we've got on the PlayStation 5. So this is Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. So this is a 2D Metroidvania. The developers that made this one are a Chinese studio, from what I believe. You basically play as this rabbit with a giant overpowered fist attachment. So it looks pretty fun. It's pretty dystopian, bit of a diesel punk sort of look to it. The environment art looks quite cool, quite distressed, quite dystopian. So looking forward to playing that one. It's not typically the kind of game that I would play, but something about it does look pretty nice. So I'm pretty keen to give that a go. You might notice that there's something a bit strange going on with the cover on this one. So I've actually had to hand cut it myself, because this was supposed to be a steelbook for this one. But it actually just came in a blank case. So I've improvised a little bit. It did come with the sleeve, the cardboard sleeve on the top. What I've done is I've just cut the sleeve up and used it as an insert for the cover art. So I may end up printing that off separately later, because it does look a little bit wonky. But at least for now, when I put it on the shelf, I'll be able to know what it actually is. But looking forward to playing that one as well. Okay, next up we've got one called Asterigos, Curse of the Stars. Again, not too familiar, but this one looks like it's my kind of game. Apparently it is sort of a Souls-like sort of game, action RPG, but it's a little bit more forgiving than traditional Souls games. It's a little bit more easy to get your head around, I guess. And stylistically, the art looks quite cool. But it says here, decide the fate of Aphes. Embark on a journey full of danger in this action RPG inspired by Greek and Roman mythologies. Explore the breathtaking city of Aphes and forge your way through legions of unique foes and mythical bosses to discover the truth behind the city's curse. So, sounds really cool. I like the sound of that. From what I have seen of this one, it is looking like a pretty cool game. Like I say, it is pretty much almost a Souls-like, but it's a lot more forgiving, so you don't lose your resources when you die, for example. The bosses are maybe a little bit easier to parry and dodge than in the Souls-like formula. So apparently it's just a little bit more approachable, which I'm all for, because to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of Souls games, but it's mainly just because I find them more frustrating than fun, unfortunately. So last up, we've got, I think, the most interesting one of this haul. Let's see if it'll go on here. It may fall over. Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered for the Nintendo Switch. So I was actually looking for this in PlayStation 5. I don't know if you just heard that crack, by the way, that was my elbow. Yeah, I was looking for this on the PlayStation 5, but every time I've found it, the price has just been a bit too high. So with this being on sale, I did manage to find it on the Nintendo Switch, which is really cool. Usually I would just go for the PS5 because the hardware's a bit more powerful, so it's a bit more likely to not have performance issues, but it should be fine on the Switch. But, yeah, really cool to see that re-released. So nice little haul there. But yeah, I'll do another video explaining a little bit about the EB Games shutdown, about my experience with that, about what I think of the situation, and just give a little bit of information in case you didn't actually know what was happening there. But yeah, after 25 years, EB Games is closing its doors in New Zealand, which I'm very sad about. But that's a video for another time. Thank you for watching the first video on the channel. I think we're off to a pretty cool start.